Here on Lake Hartwell, and it is such a pleasure right now to welcome a gentleman. I mean, the reason we're here, one of the main reasons we're here, is the great Bill Dance, one of the founding fathers of our sport, and just so much history. And Bill, I guess we must have done something right. We've never been lucky enough, me and Zona, to have you on the set with us.
Thank you, Tommy. It's great to be with you, buddy. It's great seeing you again. It's been a while.
It's good to see you too,
Bill.
Thank you.
And you too, Mark.
Bill, in all honesty, you know you have legendary status when you come to the Bassmaster set on Fox, and all the commentators are doing selfies and getting autographs. real quick, and it's amazing just watching you come in here and interact with the fans. Talk about, you've been to all of the Bassmaster Classics, what this event means to you.
Well, you know, it's the highlight. It's the elite. It's the top. It's a World Series. It's a World Series of fishing. It's as high as you can get in our sport. You know, you work through the steps. I made it to the Classic several times. I never won the Classic. I came in second, but it's the ultimate. I mean, it's a Super Bowl. It's a Super Bowl of fishing. It's a World Series of fishing. It's the PGA. It's the top. It's that.
So I have to ask you, we have guys on the water during this tournament. Same thing. They've come so close. You look at a Jason Christie's, that far from holding the trophy. A Greg Hackney, a Gerald Swindle. Do you still think about, man, I've won everything in the game, but I didn't win the Classic?
Well, you know, I thought I had one at Clark Hill, and I came in, and I limited out all 3 days. And I came in, pulled in, walked in. Everybody was congratulating me. You got it going. You've got it going. And there was one boat that had not come in. And the boat broke down. And a boat was coming in and saw this boat that had broken down. The boat, Roland Martin, was coming in, and he looked and he said, "You need some help?" And the guy said, "Yeah, I'm trying to get in." He pulled the boat in. It was Rail Breckenridge. You remember Rail?
I know where this is
going.
Arkansas. I know right where this is
going. He
pulled
Rail in. Rail comes in, crippled, pulls his boat, gets out, weighs in, and beat me by like a pound and a half.
So basically, Roland Martin destroyed your Bassmaster Classic.
And I've not talked to him since. No, literally, that's what happened. I came real close to a Bassmaster win, but I had some great times. I wouldn't be where I am today had it not been for B.A.S.S. And I started out in the beginning in Springdale, Arkansas, on Beaver Lake, and we fished our way all the way through the series, and I owe B.A.S.S. a lot.
Did you ever think, I mean, the doors are going to open here. Yesterday it was a circus. It was a madhouse.
Sure
Did you ever think that you would see bass fishing get to the point of junior high school, college? Never.
Absolutely. I never dreamed it would get, you know, the first year I saw it where it was. See, I grew up with it. I started in infancy when it was where it was. The first year passed, and I said, well, it can't get any bigger. 5 years went by, and I said, my gosh, look how far it's grown. 10 years passed. Ray Scott had a dream, and that dream became a reality. And it just continued to grow, Tommy. And you saw it.
Oh, sure.
Jerry McKinnis.
Yes.
Jerry was my roommate. I wouldn't be doing television today had it not been for Jerry McKinnis. Jerry taught me a lot about television. And I watched it grow, and I watched it grow, and I watched it grow, and it continued to get bigger and bigger and bigger. And I remember the first Bassmaster Classic, and I thought, well, this thing's not going to be. And when Ray put that first one on, it was a tremendous, tremendous success. And no, to answer your question, I would never dreamed it to be as big as it is today.
I saw a photo last week at a Tennessee volunteer basketball game of a giant head of the fans holding a Bill Dance head in the crowd last week. I saw that picture.
I saw that too. Did you say, I know that guy?
Absolutely.
Or did you recognize the fish, or did you recognize me?
Bill, jump in with us here. We're gonna go out on the lake on Lake Hartwell, and of course we talk about Clark's Hill just down the road, and Hartwell is the playing field today, and we're going to look at our Humminbird unlocked the lake. This is all our catches so far, Z.
Exactly right. Your Humminbird unlocked the lake from the dam, flying upwards, looking at about almost 1,000 miles of shoreline here. You're at around 56,000 acres. And Bill, you can nail this. Help us out on this Humminbird unlock the lake. You know you're on a healthy fishery when it is this spread out of all of your fish catches so far here today.
Well, it is spread out. You know, they had a frontal system that came through. Had north winds the first day, and I figured that would have a major effect on the fishery. You know, how fronts affect fish. But they did catch fish yesterday. I think 20 pounds was leading the tournament yesterday.
Yeah, really spread out with 15-pound stringers. And one of the strange things looking at this Humminbird unlock the lake, as far as from different classics that we've had, they have been caught on this lake right now really from 1 feet out to about 50 to 60 feet of water.
Yeah, these fish are in I don't know what the water temperature is, but I don't even think these fish have spawned yet. Based on, I haven't talked to any of the fishermen, but
barely getting there.
They're in a transition period.
Yes.
So if you got fish in a foot of water, you got fish in 50 feet of water, you've got a big transition going on here.
We're supposed to stay completely unbiased here on Fox and not root for anybody.
The what?
We're supposed to stay totally unbiased. Where we have no fan favorites. Who are you rooting for to win this tournament, Bill?
Well, you know, I'm crazy about Jason.
Right.
Jason's a great guy. I've got a lot of good buddies that are fishing here. One in particular that I grew up with. I remember him when he was a little bitty boy, and I watched him grow. And I watched his enthusiasm. I watched him. He's a listener. I've known his daddy. I fished against his daddy. And I rate his daddy as a tremendous angler, and that's Roland Martin.
Yep.
Scott Martin is a excellent little guy. I remember Scott when he was just a kid, running around trying to catch fish in a swimming pool in Clewiston, Florida. I've watched Scott grow, and I've watched him progress and develop into a top-notch angler. And I've kind of close to Scott. I like Scott. And if I had to pull for one angler, I guess it would go, but I'd pull for Scott.
And you look at Scott right now, unofficially in second place.
Yeah.
Really coming up the leaderboard today. And the other side of that,
Scott's got an uncanny ability, and I guess he learned that from his daddy. He can adapt summer, fall, winter, spring, cold water, hot water, muddy water, clear water to a variety of lakes, whether it be lowland, midland, highland type lakes, and he knows how to adjust to these types of lakes. He knows how to use a variety of tackle and different types of lures in different water clarities. So he's a well-advanced fisherman.
And you don't want to use the word shadow, but to be Scott Martin, your dad is one of the legends of this game, like yourself, for decades and decades and decades. That's a lot of pressure, man.
Well, yeah, it is. Well, you know, I was with Roland yesterday, and he was looking at the scores, and I said, where's Scott? And he said he's in sixth place. And I said, how far out of first? And he said 3 pounds. That's one cast. So Roland taught him a lot. He brought him up right. And to have a daddy like Roland, you know, teaching you how to fish, taking you fishing and showing you how to fish, how to read water, how to fish different type lures, that's a big advantage. And Scott is a listener. And so I think he'll do well.
Bill, can you get out here and whoop these kids? You can, can't you?
What?
You can get out here and whip these kids on camera, can't you? I mean, you could. You could. Yeah, you could. Yeah, absolutely. In my mind.
We talk about that Clarksville tournament. I studied that tournament. You found a bunch of fish that nobody else found out deep. Now, you found them a different way than they're finding them out here now. How did you find them back in the day?
Well, I found them. You know, we could only carry 10 pounds of tackle.
Right. You had one pack of worms.
And this was a wild story, but we could only carry, and I had 3 packs of Bill Jackson floating worms. And so I pulled up on this point, and I looked at it, and it was where a creek channel came out and met the Savannah River channel.
Uh-huh.
And I looked at it, and I put on a Carolina rig. And I'd not really fished Carolina rig a lot, but I put it on. And I put on one of these floating worms, threw it out, went to the bottom, and it was 35 feet. And so I was going to fish it in to shallower depths. Well, I caught a fish at 35. Well, in the course of 3 days, excuse me, those fish moved from 35 to 52 feet. Charlie Searcy, the outdoor editor for the Nashville Tennessean, was my partner. And he was there, and what I would do, he smoked cigarettes, and he had a cigarette lighter.
He had to fix the worm.
Yeah, and he would
fire the heater up.
Look, they'd tear the worm, and I'd borrow his cigarette lighter, and I'd fuse them back together.
Right.
And I'd be, and he'd burn, the plastic, and I'd fuse them back together. And those 9 worms lasted me 3 days. I limited all 3 days of the tournament. And I remember I did catch one big fish, and ABC Sportsman was shooting that
American
segment.
Sportsman, yeah.
And Bruce Buckley, the photographer, said, let that fish run a little bit more. And I let him stay in the water too long, and he got off.
Oh, no.
And that was the winning fish.
That was the winning fish right there. You talked about rolling, Bill Danson. I can remember when you found another calling. You saw another road calling your name, and you took your lead graciously from the classic competition. Him, Roland, Rick Clunn, and all these heroes of the sports that he can't leave. He's our inspiration. He is the guy who keeps us going. He taught us everything. That speaks to how influential you are in the sport. So happy. So proud to have you.
Thank you, Tommy. Thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you so much.
The great Bill Dance with us today.
Buddy.
We
appreciate
appreciate Bill.
Thank you,
I guess once again, I guess we did something right to get Bill Dance to sit
Thank
here
you,
with
buddy.
us for a while. We got plenty more.